The recent arrest of Henrry Josue Villatoro Santos, a top-tier MS-13 leader in Woodbridge, Virginia, represents far more than the capture of a fugitive. His presence just 15 miles from Washington, D.C., amidst a known redistribution of FBI personnel away from the capital, raises acute concerns about the timing, intent, and context of his activities. This was not a routine evasion maneuver. Given his strategic role in the gang's national hierarchy and the discovery of multiple firearms in his possession, Santos's presence appears operational in nature, not incidental. His capture should be read as a disruption to a developing act, not the conclusion of an existing threat. The relocation of over 1,500 FBI personnel out of Washington, part of a broader decentralization plan, temporarily weakened the enforcement infrastructure surrounding the capital. For a transnational organization like MS-13, capable of tracking and exploiting law enforcement gaps, this would have signaled opportunity. It is reasonable to infer that Santos's movement into the region was calibrated to this shift, providing a rare opening for in-person leadership activity in a typically high-surveillance zone. In short, the structural vulnerability in federal presence created a window through which direct gang coordination could be attempted with reduced risk. Compounding this timing is the political environment. The Trump administration's recent escalation against Central American criminal organizations, including the designation of MS-13 as a foreign terrorist organization, mass deportations under the Alien Enemies Act, and the deployment of domestic surveillance satellites, has significantly increased pressure on MS-13 leadership. These actions pose an existential threat to the organization's operations and hierarchy. Historically, Mississippi 13 has responded to such pressure with violent assertion. Santos, as one of the group's top 3 U.S. figures, would likely be central to any retaliatory or reorganization efforts. His movement into the D.C. area strongly suggests such activity was either underway or imminent. What makes this situation particularly dangerous is what has not happened. No accomplices have been identified, no associated arrests made, and no gang cells linked to his presence have been publicly disclosed. The absence of these details implies either a compartmentalized network still in position or a broader operation yet to be uncovered. If Santos was not acting alone, and all indications suggest he was not, then his arrest represents an interruption, not a resolution. The force he was leading or coordinating likely remains at large, potentially with instructions or contingencies in place that could still be acted upon. Taken together, the facts indicate an active threat posture. A strategic leader entered a temporarily exposed zone near the nation's capital, during a moment of political and legal pressure on his organization, armed and undetected until the point of arrest. That sequence, opportunity, motive, and act, fulfills the conditions for a credible imminent threat. Law enforcement and intelligence agencies should consider the possibility that Santos's presence was the final preparatory step for a high-profile act, and that further investigation is urgently required to identify any operational network that may now be active and leaderless, or worse, still following a plan already set in motion.